Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News. It's good having you with us. Belinda Wilson has done it again. The longtime unionist last night reclaimed her position as the best candidate to lead the 3,800-strong Bahamas Union of Teachers. Riding high on her victory, Mrs. Wilson today sat down with our BJ McDermott.
She never doubted she would, but last evening, after the votes were counted, Belinda Wilson again clinched the victory of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, and by a landslide over her opponent, the 7th consecutive time she's done so. And to the top of her to-do list, the union's outstanding industrial agreement that in part speaks to a 20% salary increase coupled with an increased salary scale for teachers.
In that agreement, we deal with not only the 20% salary increase for teachers and new revised salary scales, but we also deal with important matters pertaining to their terms and conditions of service and health and safety issues, the curriculum, class sizes, hardship allowances, mileage. And when you speak about the hardship allowance and mileage and the disturbance allowances and rental allowances, that mostly impacts our teachers in the Family Islands and Grand Bahama.
What's also important to the union president is training for those interested in one day leading the BUT.
Hopefully now I have probably another eight young, I call them young individuals. So hopefully they would take the training, and then also with the training comes sometimes chastisement. That too, and they'll be able to learn and be able to take the union forward.
To her membership, Mrs. Wilson left this message.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, and then I really want to say that I'm humbled, because I know a lot of times, even yourselves in the media or in the public domain, it's a lot of negativity and misinformation that comes out about Belinda. I mean, not that it bothers me, but what I like is that the teachers who are our members, not only do they know the truth, but they know who's there for them. And they know that I have the passion, I have the strength, I have the will to work for them, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I just want to say thank you to all the teachers from Grand Bahama to Inagua.
The official results of Thursday's BUT election is expected on Monday. Reporting for JCN News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Reclaiming her position as president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers for yet another term, this after winning by a significant margin at the polls yesterday, with most of her team having the same success. In related news, the Ministry of Education trying to get to the bottom of a fire at the Huntley P. Christie School over in Andros Wednesday evening that severely damaged its mathematics block. The school at the time was in the process of administering final exams. Luckily, all students were able to complete them. The Nicholstown School has since closed for summer break for students, that is. The school year ends for teachers on Friday, June 21st.
They would have lost, I think, about a classroom block, and they also had some damage to the cafeteria, but my understanding was that they would have soaked the roof so that did not burn, so they have some smoke would have affected that building. But I hope that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Works use the summer to repair and replace those buildings.
The ministry is assured that cleanup efforts will begin as soon as the investigation into the fire is complete. The BUT leader, meantime, also expressed hope that the school's technical building will soon be completed.
There is a technical block that has been built now for about 13 years at that school that has not yet been able to be used or occupied. It's a waste of the public's money. And I would have communicated with the Minister of Work several months ago about when is that building going to be completed and when will the school be able to have use of that building. So I await the response, and again, I'm going to agitate, and I'm going to keep agitating, because they've already spent our taxpayers' money to build a building to sit for 13 years that the school cannot use. So I hope that they will quickly.
In other news, the increasing homicide rate giving rise to the ever thorny issue of what should be done to curb those numbers, with the discussion always centering around the death penalty. Well, if Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez has his way, lethal injection would be the alternative to hanging. In fact, it's a topic he plans to introduce for discussion during clinical psychiatrist Dr. David Allen's Crime Consultative Committee. You see, the council has reached out to Dr. Allen as part of an initiative dubbed Operation Restoration. This in the face of continued abuse, domestic violence, industrial unrest, and yes, crime. This week alone has seen 3 homicides, again, all the victims men. Bishop Fernandez has called on the Bahamas to pray for the families of all victims, as lack of empathy for the common man, the growing disrespect of people's property, and failure to be one's keeper is what's undermining the fabric of the country's foundation as a Christian nation. And this, it seems, is really what has sparked the need for a unified response to change. One that's above the usual barriers of denomination, political persuasion, and social status. Now, the bishop accepts that the work will be difficult, but that it is necessary. Operation Restoration has a number of events and activities planned, all aimed at strengthening families and by extension, the nation. A march predominantly targeting men and a day of prayer takes place this Saturday, June 15th at 8 a.m. The march starts at Rawson Square and ends at Windsor Park. Meantime, Bahamas Against Crime is open to partnering with the government to develop a new strategy, one that would up the investment in the social sector. And according to its chairman, Reverend C.B. Moss, this is particularly critical in hotspot areas. Furthermore, he's of the view that one of the powerful assets in the fight against crime is not being used. That's women, the mothers, wives, grandmothers, daughters, etc. We turn our attention now to news from the police, who are reporting an early morning crash that's left a woman dead and a man wounded. Police tell us it was after 4 o'clock this morning that the couple was traveling in the northbound lane of Sir Milo Butler Highway when the male driver lost control of their black Honda Civic and collided into a tree before rolling down a ditch. Fire services personnel were called on the scene to extricate the two. However, paramedics pronounced the woman dead on the scene soon after. At last report, the man was listed in stable condition in hospital. The matter's under active investigations. Police also reporting a drug arrest here in the capital Thursday afternoon. Officers at the time were patrolling the Cowpan Road area when they spotted a man near a vehicle. Reports are that upon seeing officers, the man, who began acting in a suspicious manner, threw a package to the ground, in it $1,500 of suspected marijuana. The suspects to be arraigned in connection with the matter sometime next week. A similar fate for 2 men over in Grand Bahama. In this case, officers were in the Columbus Park area when they noticed the 2 men in a vehicle. The 2 reportedly sped off upon seeing the police. The vehicle was eventually stopped and searched. That's when officers found suspected marijuana. Both were arrested. Police said one of them also has an outstanding warrant of arrest issued by a magistrate. An attempt to smuggle illegal migrants into the country ends with 177 undocumented Haitians being taken in and their vessel destroyed. The U.S. Coast Guard alerted the Defense Force Operations Command to the suspicious vessel in waters southwest of the Bahamas on Wednesday. Officers on board the HMBS Durwood Knowles proceeded to the area. The Haitian vessel was intercepted by U.S. Coast Guard cutter Venturous, assisted by P-128 and HMBS Durwood Knowles, approximately 30 miles south of Anagua, around 6:30 Wednesday evening. Now we're told that due to the safety of the life at sea, concerns the unsanitary and unseaworthy status of the migrant vessel, all of the migrants were transferred to the cutter and the migrant vessel destroyed. The groups to be repatriated to Haiti. When we return, news from Parliament. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.